Hiya there, folks. Root Beer here, looking at the last question in B part on our 2018 Grade 9 Pascal paper. So what have we got in the diagram? PQRST is a pentagon. PQ is 8. I'm also noticing some right angles just looking at the diagram. QR is 2. RS is 13. ST is also 13. And TP is 8. Also, we've got the right angles that they mention. What is the area of the pentagon? Okay, so when we're doing a question like this, we should always try and break it down into more familiar shapes. I'm not aware of any formula for areas of pentagons shaped like this. In fact, there really isn't a general formula for the area of a pentagon, period. They're too flexible, unlike triangles that are rigid. Okay, there isn't even a general formula for the area of quadrilateral just in terms of its side lengths. Unless it's cyclic, but then you have to know something a bit more about the angles. Anyway, so I want to first copy my picture down, and then I want to break it up into, so I'm noticing right angles. I'm thinking maybe we'll have some rectangles, maybe some right angle triangles in here. Okay, so we've got two 13s, we've got an 8, and an 8, and a 2. Okay, so, well, how could we break this down? Well, we could extend some sides here and get a nice little right angle here. And then, oh, that would be an 8, and this would have to be a 6, because together they have to make an 8 over here. And then, well, that gives me a nice base for a triangle, and this gives me a nice base for a triangle, and that's certainly something we could try. Okay, other plans maybe to try and divide up this area. And I'm not saying there that one is necessarily better than the other, but just trying to explore other ways to tackle the question. What else could we do? We could connect these 2 points up, drop a little right angle here, 2, an 8, a 6, right angle triangle with the Pythagorean triples tells me this is a 10. I've got 10, 13, and 13. Well, how could I figure out the area of this triangle that's left over? Because rectangle here and the right angle triangle aren't bad. But how could I figure out the area of a triangle that goes 13, 13, and 10? Well, it's isosceles. So I could drop an altitude here and use the Pythagorean theorem with these 5s. You get a 12 here, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Alternatively, as I mentioned, triangles do have a formula just in terms of their side lengths to figure out area, and you could absolutely use that. It's not a written contest. Okay? But the area that we want is going to be one rectangle that's 8 by 2, plus the area of one triangle with a base of 8 and a height of 6. So it's right angle, so that's going to be very easy to figure out. Plus, I already drew this picture a little bit, but an isosceles triangle with sides 13, 13, and 10. And so if I were to drop an altitude in here, that's going to split the base in half. Why? Because it's an isosceles triangle. So by angle, side, angle, everything works out. And if I remember my Pythagorean triples, I know that 5, 12, and 13 are right angle triangle. Now, if I don't know those, of course, I can just do 13 squared minus 5 squared and square root that. But I would recommend that if you're trying to get a bit more serious about these contest questions, that you know Pythagorean triples like 8, 6, 8, and 10 that I've used over here, or 5, 12, 13, or something a bit more obscure like 8, 15, 17. But either way, we have a formula for the area. So it's going to be 2 times 8, 16, plus 1 half 8 times 6, and that'll be 24, plus 2 copies of this triangle, or of these sort of split triangles, or I guess we could just say, well, we found the height, so oops. So 1 half base of 10 times height of 12. So that's going to be 60. So we get 16 plus 24 plus 60. So that's 40 plus 60. And that's a final answer of 100. Is 100 one of our possibilities? Yep, it's right here. It's D. And that's exactly what we're going to bubble in. So up next, we're going to be starting the C-part questions with question number 21 in the lead. Okay, these are usually the harder questions, so I would once again recommend you try these questions. If you're going to try anything, try these questions before coming back and watching. But I will see you for those a bit later. Have yourself a wonderful day in the meantime.